Hello. I gotta finish this one first. What's gonna happen in regards to that? So, I don't know where this book came from. Very, very proud of it. Hey y'all, it's Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today. And for this video, we are gonna be rating my shelves for the oldest book I have not read from my book haul Revisited. Alright, so before we get into anything bookish, make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. And you gotta tell me in the comments, have you read this book? Did you like this book? Let's talk about it. So I've gotten in the habit about once a year of revisiting my previous book hauls and seeing, do I actually read the books I buy? I did one last year and had about 5 unread books. So I ended up turning it into a vlog. And I thought that would be kind of fun to do again this year, even though I only have one unread book from my book haul Revisited in 2026. And I'm very, very proud of it. I'll put a link to that video up above if you are intrigued. So the only book I had yet to read was The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty. Now, I was super excited for this one because I heard it was about a female pirate who kind of gets pulled back into life after having retired. And that just sounded very entertaining, very up my alley. And then I saw this gorgeous special edition, and of course, I wanted to have it so desperately. And then I never read it. Then I actually ended up trying to read City of Brass by this author for, I think it was a raid my shelves for like higher fantasy. That sounds right. I'll also put a link to that blog up above. Spoiler alert for the vlog, City of Brass and I did not get along very well, unfortunately. I was not jiving with the author's writing style there. I wasn't really loving any of the characters. The world building was a little bit too much for me. And so after that happened, I was a little nervous to try out Amina, but it had kind of been hanging out at the front of my brain a little bit more as of late because my sister-in-law actually asked to borrow it. So as I said, we were following Amina al-Sirafi, who was once this infamous female pirate. So as of this point, I have actually started into it. And the setting of the world is supposed to be reminiscent to I think 12th century. You know what? I just Googled it because I was curious to get like a more specific time period. And actually the novel is set in the medieval Islamic Golden Age. And so like I said, Amina's name definitely is very well known, but she's been out of the game for like 10 years now. She has a daughter. She is just trying to live her everyday life. She's trying to keep a roof over her family's head. But unfortunately, the mother of a man who actually served on her ship comes and demands that Amina helps her because her granddaughter has just recently been kidnapped. And initially, she's not particularly jazzed about it until this lady offers her an obscene amount of money. Like I said, pirate. And so Amina has to try and gather her crew back together again to go on this one last trip in order to save this young woman. But naturally, they get more than they bargained for. On that note, let's go ahead and roll the vlog. Hello, my loves. So I am 25% into Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi, and thus far I am really liking this. Already, I think the world building, very well done, very settled into the universe that Chakraborty is creating here, because I think this is actually supposed to be set in the same universe as the David Bad trilogy, just like a fair bit in the past, because I do know that there's like something that keeps being alluded to with our main character, Amina's daughter, and I am pretty sure I've already figured out what it was, and I am very intrigued as to like what's gonna happen in regards to that. So that alone has my intrigue like through the roof. But she is approached by this woman in order to try and find this woman's granddaughter, who she believes to have been kidnapped. The son of this woman, so therefore the father of the granddaughter, is a man that actually worked on Amina's ship and unfortunately was taken out in some way that Amina like blames herself for. Not 100% sure what happened there yet. We've not gotten those answers. We actually get these little excerpts that seem like they're supposed to be referencing stories from Amina's adventures. So I really like that setup as well, because we also have this like ongoing thing to learn more about Amina's backstory and then also like see more of this guy's character as well. Each time we have those little excerpts, it always does sort of tie in some way to the events of the chapter, which I think is being well done too. As far as like the plot itself goes, I mean, I'm 25% in, so like still early stages. We're very much in the setup. Amina is like still just barely gathering a crew, but it is very much making me think of Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames, which I just recently read, that kind of had a similar feel. Retired person comes back into the game and goes on another adventure. And so I'm all over it for that. I do think it's a lot of fun. I like Amina's character so much. She is clearly a very strong woman, but I also like that she is not written in this way that's shying away from her femininity. From what we've seen of her living as a retiree, we can tell she has tried to I don't know if I want to say like reform, but she has kind of tried to change her ways from being a pirate now that she's a mom and is just trying to like survive and help take care of her family. And part of that does include the fact that she is more devout in her religion now. So that's another thing that I think both adds to the world building Chakraborty is doing, but also to Amina's character on the whole, even though she herself admits like she is definitely not a glowing example of a Muslim. So that has also been pretty amusing. We've had like 1 to 2-ish, I guess, action scenes so far. I will say those were written very well to the point where like, you know, you're pulled to the edge of your seat. You're really intrigued as like where things are going to go. You can perfectly visualize everything that is happening. So across the board, I'm loving this right now. Really glad I am picking this up. Hello again, friends. So later the same day, because I'm really enjoying Amina al-Sirafi, I've hit the halfway point into this, and we have just met character who it's one of those where like I really thought there was going to be like a longer drag out with that character. I did not anticipate them to show up this early, but the dynamic we are already getting to see between this character and Amina is so much fun, and I'm really into it. It actually kind of is making me think of a rather important plot line in the Sunshine Bikram series by Dorinda Jones, which I am all over. So this is like a trope that I don't even know how to talk about it too much. It's a trope I don't like to see in books where it's romance alone, but I think it's a very interesting trope when put in a different sort of genre. It just like adds an extra layer of drama. So I'm really into it. We've hit the point now where we've like kind of formed the team and they're officially going on the adventure trying to get this young woman back, and the stakes have been upped as well. So I am all freaking over this. I'm really liking it. I think the writing style itself is just very bingeable, very readable. I feel like having only one person, well, technically like 2 perspectives, but the main one, Amina's, is really at the forefront of the story and takes the most precedent. And that's working for me a lot better than when I tried to read City of Brass by this author. It also might just be the fact that I like Amina a lot more than I liked any of the characters in City of Brass that I had met when I was attempting to read it. I also feel like the world building here is just, it doesn't feel like info dumping is happening so much. It's more just they're traveling throughout this world, and whenever something new that has not been presented previously pops up, Amina just explains it real quick, and it's never too much in comparison to City of Brass, when I felt like I was kind of just having a few pages of explanation dumped on me at times. Just looked down and suddenly there's blood on my hand. I don't know where this blood came from. Okay, well, that's weird. Anyway, I'm really enjoying this, and I'm very excited to continue reading it, which is why I'm filming this update now, so that in the morning I can go ahead and jump back into the audiobook because it's going swimmingly. Hello again, friends. So I'm at about 75% into Amina now, and I'm really liking this. I'm liking it so freaking much. I will say the more we're learning of the world itself at this time, I'm really getting more and more invested into the universe that's created here, and it makes me a little bummed that City of Brass did not work better for me, because this has so many elements that are very up my alley. I mean, with Amina's character, she is such a strong woman, and she really stands up to any man who tries to come at her. But also, I'm very impressed at the way there are so many elements in the world that are very true to the time period, seeing as how it is based in like our actual history, though of course there are fantastical elements, and we're getting more of those at this point. Oh, damn it. Again, so intrigued. I'm almost to the point where it's making me consider going back to try City of Brass again. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I gotta finish this one first. I've also been very impressed with the representation done in the story. So Amina is Muslim. Her right-hand man is an Indian man who is queer. Her cartographer is an African man. And then her, I don't know, what would you believe, her lead assassin, I guess we'll say, is a Christian woman, even though very hilarious of me to put both of those 2 things together as the identifying factors of her. And now by this point, we've actually been introduced to a character who it is very clear they don't feel comfortable with the gender that they are forced to represent because of the body they were born into. It just does not feel comfortable for them. And I did like the way it was presented with the character there. And also Amina kind of commenting, piracy and this lifestyle tends to attract the outsiders. That right there probably explains why I'm having such a phenomenal time with this crew, with these characters, but also the adventures, the action. I am so into it at this point. And the character I was talking about my last update, we have gotten a little bit more around them. We have finally gotten some answers as to like some of Amina's background and some of the events that happened that caused her to retire. And there's a key factor between Amina and this character that has yet to be acknowledged, and I am so excited. I'm like chomping at the bit for the drama that's going to come up whenever that gets revealed. I cannot wait. We've also started to have some elements that are a little bit more classic pirate and like seafaring adventure. And again, I don't want to get into any more specifics there, but I really liking this, really enjoying it across the board. I'm so glad for this. And like I said, the fact that it's really making me consider to go back to a book I've previously DNF'd really showcases how much I am enjoying this and how well it is going for me. Hey loves, so I've officially finished out The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi, and I really liked this. Oh, hello. I think this is like the perfect example of a action adventure story, and I loved it for that. I think my only complaint about this book is I do kind of wish I felt a little bit strongly about the cast of characters. I really enjoyed Amina, and I felt like Amina was a very well created character, but everybody else probably could have used a little bit of work. I think it was just too easy for some of them to blur together. I mean, the first half of the book is kind of based around building the crew back up, like getting the old band back together. I just felt like characterization needed to be a little bit stronger for the crew we were seeing. I also really liked how this started a lot more like historical adjacent, I guess I'll say, but the further into the book we got, the more fantastical it started to be. So it kind of like slowly led you into it. And then with how the book closes out, I mean, no denying this is fantasy. And it has me very intrigued to see what the author does with it in the second book, to see if she pushes more on the fantastical elements or manages to balance with the historical feeling. I gotta say, I did like this enough that I'm already trying to get my hands on the second book in the series. Across the board, I really liked the variety of characters we had, whether it was based on their religion, their race, their sexuality, definitely added into the found family feels. But again, kind of going back to my one complaint is I think the found family feels would have been even stronger if the cast of characters themselves were stronger. Love the relationship with her ex. I thought that was so much freaking fun. Pretty much any scene that character was involved in, I was all over it. I wasn't expecting his character to be so prevalent very quickly. And the secret that exists between Amina and her ex does have me very intrigued as to like, when will we see more of him? Because surely that is not going to be the end of it. I definitely feel like things are going to like grow from there. And I don't know, with like some of the things we learned about her ex once we got into the more fantastical stuff has me really curious about what things will we get to explore with her daughter in the sequels. Across the board, I really liked this. It definitely, I think I mentioned previously, it definitely was making me think of Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames, which I just recently read. Very similar feels between these two books, but this one is obviously a little bit more feminist. Even still, both of them are very funny action stories, and I really liked this one. So I think this is going to be like, I think I'm going to say 4.5. Like I said, I kind of wish we got a little bit more of her crew, but across the board, I really enjoyed this. I had so much fun. And again, it's not often that I'm like itching to pick up the second book to the point that I'm like actively trying to find it and get my hands on it. So that right there tells me I really liked this. And now I have to lend it back to my sister-in-law so she can finish it and then we can talk about it. So on that note, that's officially it for today, y'all. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, of course, it's a pirate book. We got to leave the pirate flag emoji or the Jolly Roger down in the comments. I have links to all my socials as well as a few ways you can support me down in the description. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday. But until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you. Bye.